Here at Pixar, story is a big deal. We really try to craft them as best we can. And you're constantly running up against something in a story that makes you think, God, do I have any idea how stories work? It doesn't matter who I'm talking to. They're always sort of relearning story. Like, oh yeah, that's how that works in movies, right? I don't know, you can never go over the basics too much in story.
The fundamental job of a story artist is to take the script and translate it into a visual form.
And the story artist does a ton of drawings. You create a world, you create a set, you create the characters.
It's part cinematography, it's part writing, it's part dialogue, it's part acting. And we as story artists take all those skill sets and put them all together through our drawings.
And some of the best exchanges sometimes are, we write something, somebody boards it, you take a look at the boards, you say, oh, there's a fountain in the set? We can do a gag about the jumping over the fountain and the guy falls in it. And then they say, oh, you're gonna do a gag about the fountain? Then why don't I shoot it like this? And they say, that's great, now what if we do? And it's just that kind of builds on itself.
And it's up to us to sort of understand their intentions, interpret their intentions, and then add to the intentions. And frankly, vet ideas that aren't gonna work. And we're sort of like the lab in that way.
You know, a story artist's relationship to their boards is complicated because, you know, you put your heart and soul into it and then you go in and pitch it. And so he starts to look around slowly and it's squishy and the kid freaks out. And then someone tears it apart and your job is just to say like, I hated that too. I could do it better. I could throw it all away and start from scratch.
One of the hardest things with this story is the prequel nature of it. There's not a lot of opportunity for drama when you know how the whole movie's gonna wrap up. Actually, our first screening, I think, we got the note predictable. That was kind of the only note, which is the worst note.
We started out very early on saying, whatever people's expectations are coming into the movie, let's try to upend those. Let's try to say, for instance, Mike wants to be a scare. I'm gonna be a scare when I grow up. That's his dream, and that seems unlikely. And then we said, and let's make Sully not want to be a scare.
He wanted to be a dentist, actually.
So Sullivan? As in Sullivan Dentistry? Sludge Falls?
And it was just one of these things where no one in the audience wants him to be a dentist. So it was just wasting time to like, come on, give up dentistry and do this thing that you're clearly meant to do. You're 9 feet tall with fangs.
What we didn't realize is that in Monsters Incorporated, Sullivan comes to life when Boo enters the picture. When you take Boo out of that equation, which we have to do in the prequel, we're continually trying to answer that question, who is Sully and what drives him?
We always try to like load Sully with all these emotional issues.
Dad, wait! Don't go!
And it just seemed forced. And based on that, we made a huge shift and started to go, wait a minute, why not focus on Mike? Because Mike seems to have the bigger emotional arc.
And then once we tried a version with Mike, there was something that just sort of on a gut level felt right because he was this underdog character.
Once you lock in on your central theme, everything kind of falls into place. I mean, that's your guiding principle, that's your compass.
It's a story about two characters who come into the movie with a certain set of insecurities and who only once they're able to tear those insecurities down are able to form a true friendship.
Mike! One of the scenes that was more challenging was the moment where Mike and Sully kind of have their heart-to-heart at the lake. There's a version of it where they have this conversation and at the end of it, they're best friends.
I need your buddy.
And it didn't quite ring true, so our goal was to try to figure out, honestly, if your friend just betrayed you, how do you deal with that moment? And we thought, you know, maybe you wouldn't get over it.
You'll never know what it's like to fail because you were born a Sullivan.
Yeah, I'm a Sullivan. I'm the Sullivan who flunked every test.
When it comes to that point where they're both at the bottom and both questioning what they're really made up of, it's this equalizer and they can see each other as essentially in the same boat.
How come you never told me that before?
Because we weren't friends before.
Once we knew that these two guys needed to team up, then we knew that there was this expectation of having the greatest scare ever.
So yeah, again, the note is in return home to make it the best scare ever. So that's what we'll have to do by 6 o'clock.
It was fun coming up with ideas that would scare us, that you'd go, that's scary.
It just ups the stakes. This whole time you're like,
A sweep of blue and Sully's there. A sweep of blue and he's gone.
So he does all that, like the atmospheric type stuff.
That's pretty creepy, where it's just...
sound effect. I like the idea that Mike makes the scare better. Like Sully does a scare and some people scream, and then Mike turns a light on that makes people outside see it too. Like they see this huge shadow.
The mood has to be believable. You want to make it feel like there's danger.
Gene Kelly boarded that scene and did a fantastic job of setting up the inspiration for the layout and the animation. He draws in a way that's very cinematic. It's just black and white drawings, line drawings, but it informs what the final image is going to look like.
All right, nice job. Thanks for coming. Yeah. You have a theme, you have a movie that makes sense. You've made the structure work, but along the lines, you killed some of the humor. So now you got to put the humor back in. That's where the gag sessions come in.
We're kind of at that point in the movie where we're trying to plus everything and get as much humor as we can out of the film. So if we get 1 or 2 gags out of it that end up in the film, it'll be awesome.
We just wanted to get everyone together in the next 2 hours and start just talking about ways to...
We try to get the funniest, most prolific artists in the studio together and we say, great, be funny now. Do it now.
But we just had this shot in first day where we're just showing the school, and there's just a shot of some students walking around, and is there some little collegey piece of action? Right now we just have them walking.
And then we just start riffing. It's a lot like improv.
A monster with like 18 eyes. Someone comes up behind them with 18 hands and covers them all. Guess who? Like, I haven't seen you all summer.
one just throws out of his head and looks around.
One thing we saw when we went to Berkeley was like couples hanging all over each other.
What if it's literally just a ball of limbs?
Yeah.
You know, that's just moving like this, and there's like...
Maybe they have really long tentacly arms, so they're so like, they've totally wrapped each other up.
Yeah.
Like 2 squids kissing or something.
And they leave for class, and there's another guy in the middle.
Boy, once the gag sessions get going, it's a lot of fun. People just start throwing out ideas, building off each other's ideas, and you just kind of ride the wave. Yeah, I love that.
That's awesome.
It was a journey. I think I was actually working on Monsters University longer than I was in college. So maybe that makes it my alma mater.
Mike's story is one of failure and things not working out the way he hoped it would, no matter how hard he tries to make it work out. That is the story process. That is what we go through all the time. I feel we look back on the film and it was all those early failures. It was all those mistakes. It was all those roads we went down and all those hard times and all those things that didn't work out that led to a movie we never could have thought of the first time around.